Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another exciting episode of Class with Mr. Barton. So, welcome back from fall break. I'm glad you guys lived, right? Everyone's here. Susan, Tammy, Tommy, Thomas, Tomothy. Yep, okay. I'm glad you guys lived. How was it? Was it great? I hope so. So, rather than just dive headfirst into math, because even though I know there's nothing that you guys love more in this world than learning mathematics, I'm going to have to just, tease you a little bit and say, oh, you know what, maybe tomorrow, you guys, maybe tomorrow we'll do a little bit of math. Today, you're going to have to suffer through not learning math. Instead, I want to talk about setting goals, right? And this is motivated by the fact that when you guys did your little introduction videos at the beginning of the semester, a lot of you guys said things like, I want to learn to skateboard, however, I'm not any good at it. At whatever kid said that, right? But, so I want to try and teach you how to trick yourself into trying harder at something, right? Because some of you have stuff you want to learn to do. And this isn't math. There's actually a slide in here that's going to show you that if I try and make it about math, it won't even work anyway, really. That doesn't mean I'm not going to try, right? I'm not going to let my memes be dreams. But we'll do not math stuff. So we're going to talk about setting goals for yourself, why it's important, what it does, and why you should do it. And then, and I know you never saw this coming, I'm going to make you set goals for yourself. That's going to be what your homework is. And then I'm going to read them and judge you as a person. Actually, probably not. I'll probably read them and go, oh, that's cool. But, also, I'd like to point out that I hand drew a whole bunch of little things today. Because one of my goals is to learn how to draw. And then after making this, I'm like, you're being a real hypocrite, you know that, dog? I was like, hey, you can't say that to me. And then it got heated, you guys. I was about to come to fisticuffs with myself, and I decided, you know what, just shut up and draw. So there's a bunch of grade A, top-notch, super great drawings that I put in here, so you can thank me later. All right, let's go learn about goals, you guys. So the first question that you're going to ask, hopefully, right? And maybe I'm putting words in your mouth here, but we'll pretend that you're me. The first question you're going to ask is, why do I even want to set a goal? What a dumb idea. But if I set a goal, I could fail at it. And my 3 greatest fears in life are failing my goals, disappointing my parents. And what's another thing that's the same thing as failing your goals and disappointing your parents? Dying of an aneurysm in the middle of the day with no warning at all, right? Now that you're all stressed out. So why the heck do you want to set goals? So if you set goals, you will magically do better at whatever the thing is that you're trying to do. And you're going to say, Barton, that's not true. And I'm here to tell you, yes, it is. In 1981, which is more than 10 years before I was even born. So this is ancient knowledge, right? This is like, this guy, Edwin Locke, he wrote this stuff on the pyramids. That's how old this stuff is. This guy, Edwin Locke, back in 1981, him and a few of his friends found that if you set goals for whatever you're trying to perform in, right? And this isn't a goal like, by the end of the day, I'm going to get my syllabus signed, right? It's not that kind of goal. It's like, I want a skateboard. That's a big thing, right? If you set goals for yourself about that thing you want, you will magically improve. Based on the fact that 90% of the people in their study did better than people who didn't set goals. So let me give you a brief example. This kid shows up to the football meeting, goes, I'm going to play football. Cha-ching. That's a goal, right? I'm going to play football. One goal in life I've always had is playing football. And then this kid shows up and he says, I'm going to score 30 points a game. Can you get 30 points in football? Yeah, touchdowns are 6, right? That's just 5 touchdowns. This kid will be a better football player than if he hadn't set a goal. This kid will be the worst version of himself. So it's not saying that this kid is better than this kid. This kid might be like that kid that's super athletic and has been in baseball since he was like 3 and like rides his bike to school every day instead of driving and like does a whole bunch of athletic stuff. And this could just be some chubby kid that's never played a sport in his life and like sucks at sports. It's not that this kid will magically be better. It's that he'll be better than himself. Oh, dang, I just messed it all up. That was going to be really dramatic if it worked, but it didn't. It just turns you into a better version of yourself, right? And you're like, man, I wish I were the better version of myself. All you have to do is set some goals and you'll magically become that. So Locke and his friends explained that having a goal motivates you more to reach the goal. Motivation is the thing we're looking at here. And I know a bunch of you guys, particularly when we talk to our school social worker, some of you guys were saying things like, I'm unmotivated. Some days I just don't feel like getting out of bed and going to school. Like, it's such a struggle. It's so hard. I don't like, ugh. So what I'm trying to tell you is that if you set a goal, it will motivate you to do the thing better. It'll make making the choice to get out of bed easier. It will magically give you energy for the effort, and it will help you finish all of it, not just some of it. All you have to just go say is, no, this is a goal of mine. And then magically your brain's like, no, I can do that, I can do that, I can do that. Cool? So setting a goal will trick your brain into caring more. That's what this slide says. Okay. So let's talk about, okay, Barton, even if setting goals is good for me and it makes me a better, smarter, harder working person, you just gave me 2 examples of kids with goals. I'm going to play football, and you said, it's been a life goal of my life to play football. And this kid says, I'm going to score goals. Why is this kid's a goal and this kid's not? Let's talk about it. So here are the things you need to have a good goal, right? There are bad goals. Like, no, okay, sorry. I grew up with a dark sense of humor, and if I come up with fake goals, they're all going to be really morbid. But anyway, here are the things that make good goals. Your goal has to be challenging. So you can't, if you're in an honors class and your goal is, I'm going to pass math. Bro, you haven't failed a single class in your entire freaking life. Like, what? That's a terrible goal. Like, did you think you weren't going to pass math? Every year when I do setting goals with kids, they're like, my goal is to wake up tomorrow. Are you worried you're going to die in your sleep? Is that a real concern of yours? Yeah, Barton, I just told you my 3 greatest fears in life are failing, disappointing my parents, and dying of an aneurysm. Of course I'm scared of that. Okay, you've got a point. But my point is you have to pick a challenging goal. If you pick a goal that's too easy, you're not going to want to work to achieve the goal. The whole point is have a goal that you're working towards. If the goal is a low bar, you're going to achieve the low bar, and then you're going to be disappointed because you only hit a low bar. Does that make sense? Okay, good. So you want to make sure the goal is challenging. What Mr. Locke, Edwin Locke, this dude here, the guy that came up with like goal theory or whatever, he said you want to aim for the 90th percentile of whatever you're looking at. So what that means is if there are 10 people that don't have arms, hang on, let's get 5 of them and then watch this magic trick. Copy. Wait, clone. Yeah, there we go. If there are, let's say, 10 kids on the soccer team, and this kid has arms because he's the goalie, and your goal is to be good at soccer. You can't just make the goal, I'm going to be good at soccer. Your goal should be, I want to be the second best kid at soccer on the whole team. You want to be better than 90% of people. If you are not better than 90%, your goal's too easy. So, if you want to make a goal about grades, if your grades are mostly... Excuse me, sorry, I'm choking on air. Okay. If your grades are mostly B's and you get like 1, you've had 1, maybe 2 A's in your whole life, the rest are B's and C's. You want to set your goal at almost an A, at like 90%. You want to shoot for an A. That way, even if you fail your goal, let's say you fail. Let's say you turn into like the third, whoops, move that. You turn into the third best player on the soccer team. You're still the third best player on the soccer team. Look at all these scrubs you just beat. Scrubs. They're terrible at soccer. You call that ball handling? You still get a really good result. So make it challenging. Okay. Your goals also have to be specific. Don't be No, sorry, wrong song. You want to be specific. Don't say, I want to be good at soccer. Say, I want to score more goals than the other 2 people that's job it is to score goals. Something like that. And that's maybe even bad because it violates the third thing that makes a good goal. Measurable. You have to be able to somehow measure your goal. Be good at soccer. How do you measure that? Well, you measure it by how many points. Oh, so you're bringing in numbers. Math. So you want to be measurable. I can bench press 200 pounds. I can ride my bike 50 miles without stopping. I can run a mile in less than 6 minutes. I have a 99% in math class. You want something that's a definitive yes or no, have you hit that goal? If you can't measure it, if it's some ambiguous idea, you're not going to know how to get there. You're not going to know if you've been there. You're not going to know what you're even working towards. And you're going to get lost in the sauce. You're going to forget what you're trying to do, and it's not going to work. Okay. The next thing you need is a timeline. If you say, I want to be the best soccer player at Independence, there's a built-in timeline because you graduate in 4 years. So if you run out of time, you failed your goal. That's part of what makes this challenging. You should be able to not hit your goal. If you just say, I want to bench press 200 pounds someday. Well, you go to the gym. Oh, well, I don't feel like it today. I don't even have to hit it by Christmas. I just have to do it someday. Like, I'll do it after Christmas. And then it turns into, well, I'll do it during summer. And then it turns into, no, I'll get there by fall break. And you just keep pushing it back and back and back and back. You need to have a deadline. Otherwise, you're going to make excuses for why you don't have to do it. Okay. The last part is that it should be something that you believe is attainable. If your goal is to bench press 200 pounds and you can currently not do a push-up, that's not going to happen. I hate to break it to you. My goal is to be 6'10", but your parents are both under 5'6", you might want to reconsider your goal. Because if it's not attainable, and we'll get to this later, your goal can actually have a negative effect on the way you perceive the goal, right? The goal can hinder you if you set it up wrong, right? It's like guns are good unless you shoot yourself in the foot with them, right? So you want to believe it's attainable. Let me tell you a story about this. This is the brave. It's the Courageous Small Broiling Unit. Copyright. There was a story when I was a little kid of something trying to pull something up a hill or something and going, I think I can. For some reason, my brain thought that was the Courageous Little Broiling Unit. It's not. I think it's Tommy the Locomotive. But for some reason, I drew the Courageous Little Broiling Unit instead. But just look at this thing. This thing is grade A. I can draw. Look at those eyes. Very, I don't know, sensitive? Does he look sensitive to you guys? All right, so let's look at some examples. So here's Andrea, and her goal is learn to skateboard. Let's kind of throw that through the what makes a good goal and see if it holds up, right? So Andrea wants to learn to skateboard. Is it challenging? Well, it depends on Andrea, right? If she has never touched a skateboard in her entire life, learning to skateboard, that's a challenging goal. Let's write this down. Challenging. Spelling is challenging. Okay. So it has to be challenging, has to be specific, has to be measurable, what else does it have to be? It has to have a timeline, timed test, right? The pacer test is a time test that will be I'm having flashbacks, you guys. And attainable. Okay, so now let me lock these down so I can reuse them, and then we'll check Andrea's goal. So Andrea's goal is learn to skateboard. If she's never touched a skateboard in her entire life, that's probably kind of challenging. Learning a new physical skill is usually a pretty hard thing to do, especially if you're not like a superstar when it comes to athletic stuff to begin with. But, you know, if you can already ride a bike, a unicycle, you play 3 sports, then learning to skateboard might not be super challenging, and you could make it more challenging. But we'll say Andrea is pretty new to action sports, so yeah, we'll give it to her. That's challenging. Is it specific? Here's where Andrea's thing falls apart. What does learn to skateboard even mean? Does that mean ride a skateboard? Does that mean just ollie? Does that mean kickflip? Bro, I bet you can't even do a kickflip. Does it mean win X Games? She's going X Games mode. Right? What does this mean? How does Andrea know she can skateboard or not? So it kind of fails the specificity criteria, but you know, she got the challenging, so we'll it's fair. Measurable. Okay, I don't know how to measure skateboard. Like, yes, I've learned to skateboard. These things are very closely related because the less specific your goal is, the harder it is to measure. So you can't measure that. I don't know if you can skateboard or not. Is it timed? Is someone going to come break Andrea's kneecaps? Let's hope not. So not timed. Attainable. She could probably do it. It looks like she has 2 legs that work, so she could probably skateboard. I believe it. So Andreas Goals her single goal fails 3 of the 5 criteria for being a really nice goal. So let's talk about maybe. I didn't mean to do that. Oh, I fixed it. Okay, thank God. Okay, so let's go and check out how we could change this, right? So we already said it's challenging and attainable. Is it specific? So if she wants to learn to skateboard, she should change the goals wording a little bit, right? And you could make this more challenging or less challenging, kind of depending on how specific we make it. But maybe her goal, the way she knows the place skateboarders delineate, can you skate, bro, is the kickflip, right? Because if you tell people you skate, the first thing they ask you is, can you do a kickflip? So learn to kickflip. That's her goal. That's how she knows she's a real skater. So if we change this to learn to kickflip, that's super specific. That's a trick. Did you land it? Yes. It's specific. That makes it measurable too. So Andrea is now going to learn to kickflip. That's super challenging. I can't kickflip. I bet you can't kickflip. Bro, I bet you can't even do a kickflip. Now we just have to make it timed. Learn to kickflip by the end of fall break. That's what she's going to do over fall break, even though she just missed it. There you go. This is a 10 out of 10 goal, or a 5 out of 5 goal maybe, which, reduces. It's great. This is her goal. Learn to kickflip by the end of fall break. This means she could run out of time, so she's going to have to work every day trying to kickflip. Maybe she can't even ollie, so she's going to have to learn how to ollie first, then flip the board mid-ollie. It's specific. We know exactly what we're going to try and film and put on TikTok, and we can measure it. Did the board land and I kept rolling after I did the kickflip? Heck yeah, I did. And then after fall break, your mom takes your skateboard and throws in the wood chipper because you got to study. But until then, kickflips all day, error day. All right, let's talk about Xavier's. Whoa. All right, let's clear this. There we go. Hang on, let me not. I'm so proud of Andrea, by the way. Look at this. You see her two-tone hair? That's how you know she's a real skater, because half her hair is pink. All right. So Xavier wants to be the best soccer player. Let's run him through the criteria here. Is it challenging to be the best soccer player? Yes, it is. I'm not the best, and it would probably take a lot of work to become the best. Is it specific? Yeah, it's specific, right? We know exactly what we're trying to do. We want people to go, you're the best soccer player. So it's kind of specific, measurable though. How do you measure the best soccer player? I don't know about you, but when you go to the barber and you say, all right, here's where the metaphor breaks down because I don't know my soccer lore, but let's pretend basketball for a second. You say, Michael Jordan is the greatest basketball player of all time. I guarantee every single person in the barbershop has an opinion about that and is willing to argue to the death whether you're right or wrong. And I bet they don't agree because measuring the best is a very hard thing to do. So maybe it's not super measurable, right? People don't even agree that Michael Jordan is the best. Maybe some people say Kobe was the best, or some people say LeBron James is the best. So you there are different ways to measure bestness. So maybe let's go back. I've thought about this some more. This is definitely measurable, but maybe it's not specific, right? We can measure best in a lot of ways. Most points scored, most championship rings, biggest shoe brand deal. You know what I mean? There are a lot of ways you can measure best at something. There's a lot of different numbers you can look at over a player's career, but people are still going to argue who's best. So the problem is, this is not specific. Is it timed? Not really. Sort of. Sports and best are hard to time because the time limit is when your career ends. But there's not a set time, right? Maybe you can squeeze in a couple more seasons, but maybe. We'll put a question mark. It might be timed. Is it attainable? It depends on Xavier. If you want to be the best at something, that's a big goal, dog. It's super hard to be the best, period. So I'm gonna say no. That's if someone says I want to be the best, like no one ever was. You know what I mean? There can only be one best. I don't know that that's an attainable goal for everybody. There are some people who are just straight up not capable of being the best. So let's amend Xavier's goal here and fix his problems. It's not specific, timed, and attainable, not super attainable, right? The best ever, bro. So here, let's pretend Xavier's in high school. Let's pare this down a little bit because you nerds are in high school, so we'll pretend he's in high school. Xavier wants to be the best soccer player. Okay, let's make it at IHS, at Independence. Okay, that's a little bit more specific, right? Like, I'm pretty sure we could come to a consensus of who's the best on a team of 20-something people at a single school. That makes it a little more specific, but I'm not okay with giving it the check mark yet. That's the best, because how many kids on the soccer team think they're the best? A few. Maybe two, right? So it's pretty close. And maybe one's a goalie and one's a forward, or one's a forward and one's not a forward. Because they don't play the same role, they don't necessarily get compared equitably. So, you know, do I have to switch roles? Do I have to become a forward? So, not super specific. One way we can make it specific, like, I want to be the best at X. Let's best at what? At scoring. So if you're the best at scoring, then obviously you're going to have the school not high score. This isn't video games. We're not playing nerdy stuff. We're playing real sports. School point scored record. Right? Xavier was the best soccer player Independence has ever seen on the basis that he holds the school record for most points scored. That's super specific. I want to score the most points. That will mean to me that I'm the best. Is it timed? Because it's a school record at a high school, we have put a time limit on it by making him graduate. And is that attainable? This is where this becomes difficult, right? Because it depends on Xavier. If Xavier believes he can score the most points, maybe he's been playing soccer since he was 2. He's got a couple other school records, or maybe his older brother has the school record, and his parents say to him, Xavier, it looks like you're a little better than your brother was at your age at soccer. Like, you've been playing with him and the older kid since you've grown up. You're getting pretty good, kid. Go for the record. Then maybe. If Xavier's very first year playing soccer is his junior year at Independence, this is probably not an attainable goal. So, attainable, as long as you think it's attainable, We're good. All right. Last one, and then we'll wrap this up and then get you guys setting some goals. Okay. Thomas wants to pass math with a B or better. Okay. So that's super specific. I know exactly what I want. B is 80 to 89. Whoops, that's not a 9%, right? So it's super specific. You know exactly what it is, and that's measurable. Pass math, that's time. The semester ends, right? Like, you could not pass math because you didn't turn your stuff in on time. Classes and school stuff kind of inherently have times on them. Okay. Here's where Thomas needs to make some decisions about his goal for himself. Does he honestly believe he can get a B? Has Thomas failed every single math class he's ever been in and, like, smokes illicit substances after school every day and never does his homework? I want to pass math with a B or better, but never do a single ounce of homework. Yeah, right? But if Thomas is like a straight A student, then of course it's obtainable. The problem with challenging and attainable they are the two boundaries, right? Challenging is the lower boundary. Is it too easy? I want to make sure the bar I'm setting is high enough. But attainable is an upper boundary. This is the like Goldilocks zone. This is where your goal should be. Down here is too easy. But up here is not realistic. Okay? So these things are both things that you have to figure out for yourself. You have to look at how have you done historically, what's changed, what's your attitude, how do you feel about it. That's how you get the challenging and the attainable check marks. Okay. So let's talk about just a couple more considerations, things that you should maybe be aware of about Mr. Locke's studies, but it's not going to affect the way you set goals, really. So, some considerations about goals. If a person doesn't want the goal in the first place, the goal loses some of its effectiveness, or it can actually become detrimental. It can make you less effective. Let me give you an example. Let's say you get a job at a call center. So this is like you show up to work, you call like 15 people, and you gotta be like, hey, do you want to buy a website? I don't know. What do people do in call centers? Or you have to answer a phone call and set up an appointment for some lady to get her dog groomed at PetSmart. All right, that's what call centers are. But you hate that. You hate talking to people. If your boss tells you that your goal for today, Tommy, is to answer 75 calls, bruh, like, I don't want to answer one phone call. What, you think I'm going to do everything in my power to make it so I don't answer 75 calls? Heck, answering 75 calls, that's too much. I hate answering phones. I don't even like people, right? I'm just here for that shmoney. I'm trying to make them schmeckles. So if your boss gives you a goal, that's just a goal. That's just aim for this. But you don't care, and you didn't set the goal, you don't see the purpose of the goal, and the goal doesn't do anything for you, you're going to be like, tell me to answer 75 phone calls. I'm going to answer 10, right? And you're going to like slack off as hard as possible, all that stuff. But we could think about this in another way. Let's say all you care about are the schmeckles, right? Like, you want to acquire the money, right? Goal number 1 on the first page, acquire that money. If you want to acquire money and you get paid a percentage of every appointment you set up, then the goal is different. You don't say, I want to answer 75 phone calls because I like answering phone calls. You say, I want to make X amount of money so I can get that Honda Civic Type R, right? That go fast car. Making money equals answering phones. So at the beginning of the day, you're going to say, okay, today, even though I hate it, I'm going to set up 75 appointments because that will get me the money. So your goal is then something that you care about and want to work hard to do because it's rewarding in some way for you. It either gets you money. If you get a B, then your GPA looks good. And I don't know why you want a B. I don't know what grades actually do. Like, I just teach you and put them in the book. But someone told me they help you get into college or get jobs or something like that. Or scholarships, things like that. So maybe there's like something you want. Or maybe just like your mom said, no, you're kind of dumb. I bet you couldn't even get a B. And some of you are like, oh my God, your mom's mean. And some of you are like, yeah, that's my mom. And you just want to prove them wrong. Like, I could if I wanted to, right? The goal has to be personal and mean something to you. Because if your boss makes you set goals, you're going to go out of your way not to do the goal because it's annoying, right? Xavier wants to be the best soccer player. And Andrea wants to learn how to skateboard because she thinks skating's cool or it looks fun, or that cute boy she likes skates, or girl, that cute girl she likes skates, and she wants to have something in common so they can hang out and hold hands, right? So the goal needs to mean something to you. Okay, this is what they call framing. The way you think about the task completely affects how much it affects you. If you believe in the goal believes in you, right? But if you think the goal's stupid, then you're going to just be irritated that it's there, and it's going to make you perform worse because now you have a goal hanging over your head. So the way you think about things affects your performance. And this can go for being intimidated by the goal, or conversely, if you think of it as a challenge rather than something that's just been given to you, you'll do better. So keep in mind that you should keep in mind why you're doing the goal. If you think about it in a positive manner, it will affect you positively. And if you think of it in a negative manner, it will affect you negatively. You just, the way you think about stuff makes your brain think more that way. So you got to trick yourself into thinking things will happen goodly or better. All right. So you're 38 minutes in this video and you're thinking, Barton, shut up. What am I supposed to get out of this? Here's what you're supposed to get out of this. It's not enough for you to want something. You have to go make your thing happen, right? I'm sure you know people that have goals like this. I want to be the best soccer player. But then that kid skips practice. They eat honey sugar Cheerios for breakfast every day. When they have to do the run at the beginning of soccer practice, they cut all the corners because I hate running. Real soccer players don't have to run. I'm sure LeBron James doesn't run. He's just good at basketball. No, LeBron James probably hecka runs. That dude runs all the time, I bet. You have to acknowledge that you have to do the crappy stuff to get the good thing that you want. All right. Furthermore, I'm trying to tell you not to live your life on the couch, dog. Like, I'm not saying that sitting on the couch and, like, committing yourself to video games or something is bad. But commit to something. Like, you can't just sit on your couch and look at TikTok for your whole life and then go, I wonder why I have depression. I haven't made any noticeable progress in my life in the last 14 years. Maybe I'm just going to be terrible at being a human my whole life. Well, yeah, if you don't set any goals, if you don't have any goals in life, dog, you're not going to go anywhere because nothing's gonna happen. You're not gonna accidentally wake up a famous YouTuber one day. You got to get those 70 subscribers from your pre-cal classes and college algebra classes, and you got to force those kids to subscribe. Make sure you hit the like button, share this video with your friends and family, and make sure you spread the wealth, right? I'm not gonna get famous not making YouTube videos. So hopefully this has somehow inspired you to go do something productive with your life. So, anyway, peace out, dog. Make sure you like and subscribe. It really helps out the channel. Consider checking out my Patreon. It helps us expand, buy new equipment. Just kidding. I'm just kidding. Actually, like and subscribe, though. Share this video. I'll see you guys later.